Do not do this. Do not isolate from your friends and family when they don't agree with you. That's what cults do. You see, a cult works when a group of people can isolate you from any other source of information, and then they do what's called love bombing you. They tell you that you're great, you're special, you're doing well, and this creates a social enforcement in your mind, a dopamine release that says, I'm doing well. What they try to do is create a stronger social bond, a more positive experience than you would get elsewhere. In your day-to-day life, you're surrounded by tons of different people. Some people are mean for no reason. Some people love you. It's a mixed bag. A cult will surround you with everyone who is only saying good things about you to reinforce the cult. Then you don't want to leave because it feels good. Now, there's power in this, and it's not necessarily negative all the time. The reason this function exists is because we as social creatures need to survive, and we form communities. So go back 50,000 years or whatever, and early humans all saying, we're going to stick together and survive, worked. It was called a tribe. Now, if they're isolating you from the bigger picture and from reality, yeah, that's a cult that probably is going to hurt you. From the Huffington Post, my husband and his family voted for Trump, so I'm canceling Thanksgiving and Christmas. I will not unwrap gifts given to me by people who voted for a party that has talked about building internment camps and mass deportation. They didn't. I mean, mass deportation, sure, but Obama did that. See, this is a cult. They're isolated from information. They don't know what's going on. Andrea Tate, the female Andrew Tate. No, that's unfair. She's the opposite of Andrew Tate. There you go. I know he voted red. He knew I voted blue. I had hoped the most capable and most inclusive candidate would win. Trump, he did win. He hoped his idea for a better America would win. He won. And from here I stand, America lost. You're wrong, and you're in a cult. In the aftermath of Tuesday night's results, still under the bed covers, Wednesday morning, I scrolled social media looking for hope. I unfriended a few short-sighted FB friends. No need to continue our digital relationships and witness their selfishness and hate. I then saw my husband's post. God bless America. God bless 45 and 47. My husband and his family voted Trump. I'm sorry. These people are mentally unwell, and it's sad. Dude, I don't want to see their hate, so I'm going to unfriend you? Yeah, you're the bigot. It's kind of crazy. These people have lost their minds. She said it had a few likes and a few commenters joined him in a celebration. He was downstairs in the kitchen making coffee, and I was upstairs avoiding him. I couldn't talk to him or even look at him. I immediately texted, I love you, but out of respect for me and all my liberal writer friends, can you please take down that post? Also tell your family I love them, but I will not be coming for Thanksgiving, and I won't be hosting Christmas. I need space. Shortly after I sent the text, he brought me a cup of coffee and said, I'm sorry, I understand. No! You tell her to shut up. You say, excuse me? You need to calm down, okay? No one came at you in 2020 and cried and isolated from you over this. We move forward. You know what this woman needs? She needs to be ripped from this cult. Dude, husband, you need to go to her and say, listen to me, Andrea. You are in a cult and you need to isolate from it. Okay? Get away from people who are telling you to stop being around your friends and family and stop only consuming single sources of information. What that means is do not stop hearing what people have to say. Do not stop listening to CNN. You need to start listening to other people. When I say isolate from this, I'm saying get away from those who are surrounding you and blocking out every other source of information. A husband saying, I'm sorry, I understand. He shouldn't be saying that. He's saying, no, I don't understand. Are you paying attention to the facts and the data? Because if you simply look at the news, you'd realize they're lying. But she doesn't. Did he really understand what he and so many others in this country had done? I could not forgive him, not right now. I spent most of the morning doom scrolling next to the cold cup of coffee. Dude, get off the internet. You need to, she has curated a feed of people screaming in her face, and that's her reality. And that's why she feels this way, despite the fact that her own husband, he's enabling her. I don't give him any credit. He went to work, I assume, energized by Trump's victory. The next day, I finally emerged and listened to Kamala's concession speech. Only when it's dark enough can you see the stars. I wrote to my artist friends and told them to keep shining their lights. I wrote to my musician son in college and his songwriter girlfriend. I told them to keep creating. I wrote to my young nieces who were terrified and told them I was there for them. I wrote to my beautiful gay cousin and said I loved him and I was thinking of him and his partner. I kept writing. I received a message from a family member who told me her Ukrainian friend was petrified. I don't care. Later that night, I briefly glanced at my husband and found myself not wanting to look into the eyes I love. I hated this divide. I wanted to touch his forearms and feel our connection, but I also felt an urge to punish him and deny him my touch. I am sorry about the holidays, but I cannot bite my tongue like I did with Hillary, I told him. I don't want to disrespect your parents or your brother, your family, blah, blah, blah. I will not be in a room of 15 people who voted for Trump. Let me just tell you, my friends, I am going to have the holidays in a couple of weeks. And very few of the people who will be there were Trump supporters. But you know what? We are correct. And we're the majority. I'm not going to abandon my holidays because a minority fringe cult is having a temper tantrum. That's just me. Now, I'm not going to go in there with a MAGA hat on or anything like that. I'm not going to go in there and laugh or dance or print out customized Oreo cookies with Trump's picture on them. Actually, I might make those cookies, but I won't bring them. Those cookies would be funny. Anyway, I'm going to just go there and be like, yeah, we're normal people. And I don't know, I like skateboarding and playing music. And if people want to live in a paranoid delusional state, they're allowed to, but they're wrong. And if they ask, I'll tell them, but I'm not going to intrude. Not on a family time. I'm not going to create problems for family. We're just going to go and have turkey and talk about this country and make sure that we stay connected because family means more. But I do think it's important that we do speak up when we must. So if someone wants to entertain lies, I will say that's not true. You are not going to sit next to me and pretend to know more than I do. Sorry, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I don't know everything, but what I do know, and I will pull it up and I will prove it. And I think that's what we should be doing. Will they feel bad? Will it be fine? Quote, I know he is a good man and he would do anything for a family member or a friend, which makes what he has done even more infuriating and more painful. Lady, you're in a cult. You're lucky that you at least have this guy who can keep you grounded to a certain degree, but your brain is fried. On November 7th, I saw my husband's post was still up. It had more comments from Americans I believe had made a huge mistake 2 days earlier. I wanted to tell them they were all wrong and had no idea of the harm they caused by making that choice. Or if they did know, they should be ashamed of themselves. I don't know how they can live with themselves. Quite well. I sleep very comfortably. And when I heard that Matt Gaetz was chosen for AG, I went out and bought champagne. She goes in to say, I got up and made coffee, put our clothes in the dryer, let our dog out, went upstairs, got dressed for the gym, did more of little everyday things. Even though many of us want to curl up in a ball and cry, we can't. When I came back downstairs, my husband was sitting in the living room with his coffee. I stood briefly at our blue front door, the one I painted last year. At the time, I thought it was just my obsessive need to redecorate. I didn't know it would one day read as a protest. He blew me a kiss goodbye from the living room as he sat drinking his favorite mug, seemingly oblivious to how upset I was. I stood at the door thinking about how I could express my hurt. I wanted to say something that would motivate him to erase his error. But if I knew my words were too demanding or my voice was too filled with anger, it would get me nowhere. This is a woman's challenge. This was Kamala's challenge. I also knew I couldn't change what had happened. Only what happens now. Only what I do now. What I refuse to accept and what I promise to keep fighting for and blah, 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 blah. Here's my advice to the husband. You are in a sick relationship and this woman is in trouble. What I would recommend to family members who are trapped in a cult like this, you need to bring more people into their lives. They need friends who can offer them a balance. It is absolutely okay if this woman has friends who are liberals and love Kamala Harris. I have many friends who are leftists. It's true. But you see, I'm inquisitive and more interested in being correct than joining a political party. I think it's important. But I do think that if you take a person who's only reading conservative news and give them a mix of some liberal views, some corporate press, and if someone only watches CNN, you got to give them a little bit of Fox News, it will be a healing thing. But I can tell you this. People on the right are more likely to be correct. Reality has a right-wing bias. So we don't want to tell people not to have friends, but they need other people to balance out their paranoid delusional states and bring them back to reality. I'll tell you the outcome. When she screams and cries about Kamala, it's the fault of the husband for not saying, honey, that's not true. Here's an article from the New York Times proving that's false. Here is the video of Donald Trump. He never praised neo-Nazis. But they don't do this. So this woman lives in a crackpot, paranoid, delusional state to the point where she doesn't like her own husband. No, she loves him, but she can't be near him or his family. Don't be the cult, my friends. Be better than that. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know, become a member over at timcast.com. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. youtube.com/timcastirl. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.